Welcome. Today I created some routes that I'm going to show just like a social media route, but we're using like NoSQL. Like when you have friends, or you want to look at some users, how does this things work? So we're just working on looking at the back end work. So I've created on my route. My code is on my GitHub, so you can look at it to see what had to go where. So we'll start by looking at the user route. For the user route, if I have a lot of users and I want to, the first thing I would like to do is to get all user. So I'll be using Insomnia to practice this. So if I go to the get all user and this is the endpoint I'm eating and I click this, you can see these are all the users that I have so far. And if I want to post or create a user, all I need to do is to come to this route and let's say we want to create a user whose last name is Godwin and email is Godwin345 at gmail.com. When I click on send, as you can see, this has been created. So if we get all user and we click on send again and we go down, we can see Godwin has been created right here. If I want to if I want to get a user by ID, so we just created Godwin. Let's say we want to get Godwin's want to get a user, we want to get Godwin and just see Godwin by ID. So I come here and I pick his ID, get user by ID. I just delete right here and I put the ID. Oh, we already have Godwin here. So let's go and get another user. Let's say we want to get Jen, this user. We just come here and pick this user ID, copy it, and we paste it. And when I click send this work, you can see that you've gotten the user by ID. You've just gotten one user by ID. Moving on, if I want to update a user, like I want to update a user, I can just come here and the user I want to update, I'm still going to update the same gen. And let's say from now on, let me put in the user ID. And let's say from now on, we are changing Jen's name to Wendy. We're putting Wendy to the right now. So if I put in my send, as you can see, we have it right here. So if I go to get our user where we formerly had Jen, this is going to change and I click on send. We can go back and we see that it's now Wendy today right here. Another thing we can do is delete a user. So if I want to delete a user, we can delete a user by the ID. I just come and I replace the ID. When I click on send, as you can see, you have successfully deleted the user. You can confirm by either coming here and clicking all user, and if you go down, you don't see Jen anymore, it has been deleted. Or you can also confirm by when you say delete a user and you click send again, you see no user with this ID found because it has been deleted. Another thing we can do is add friends. We want to add friends to a user, and what we need two IDs because this is like this is a self join. So we need the ID of where we want to add the friend, and we need the ID of the friend whom we wish to add. So I'm going to come to our get all user. Let's say for Godwin, we want to add a friend. So we're going to pick Godwin's ID. Um, and we'll go to add a friend. So I'm going to the first place I'm going to, or the first thing I'll do is to put Godwin's ID right here. I'll put Godwin's ID. And let's say the friend we want to add, let's say we want to add Fraxi as Godwin's friend. So I'm going to come right here and get Fraxi's ID. Okay, and when I do this, I get, as you can see, I've added Fraxy here. Fraxy is not a friend of Godin. If we come to get all user and we do it, and we check, we can see Godwin. We see friends here, and we see that Fraxy, this is Godwin, and we can see everything about Fraxy friends. Fraxy has been added, and we can see that the friend count increased by one. So it's the same thing if we want to like delete or remove a friend. So the first thing we do is to put the ID of the friend we want to delete, and then we put the ID of the user. So let me grab Godwin's ID again. So we want to delete so let's come here and grab Godwin's ID. And we can see that we've deleted the friend. So if we come back to get all users and we click a send, as we can see, Godwin does not have any friend anymore. So these are all the routes that were created for these are the routes that we created for the users. I will go ahead to talk about the routes that we created for thoughts. So the first route that I created for thoughts is to get all thoughts. So let's look at what do we need for get all thoughts. You just hit the endpoint and you click on send, and you see that every thought that were created is showing right here. And then we also have the route to post a thought. So if we want to add a thought, what do we need to add a thought? We need the user's ID. So I'm going to get a user to add a thought to. Um, let's say we want to add a thought to Godwin. So I'll get Godwin's ID, click on add a thought, and I'll come here. And what do we want the thought to be? I have a cool thought today. And the person that is creating this thought, you write the person's name, boss baby. And as you can see, it has been created. See the thoughts. If you want, made it more, I populated it for get all users. So if you click here, you come here and you see that we have thoughts, and you see everything that, oh, Godwin is having this thought. I have a cool thought today, created by boss baby. Another thing we can do is to update the thought by ID. So to update a thought by its ID, I will just come here and grab the ID of the thought. Um, and then we come here to, and we just put something like, I'm going to put the ID right here. And then we'll say this is a replaced thought. And we can leave this name. We press out send. If you go back to get all users, click on send, you see that this is now a replaced thought. We have been able to like edit the thought. Another thing we can do is to remove the thoughts. So all we need to do is to remove thoughts. We come here and we put in the ID of the thought we want to remove, and we click on send. No thought with this ID, because if you come here and you click hit, you will see that the thought has been removed and here is empty again. Now, how about reactions? We can add reactions to the thoughts that we have. To add reaction to the thought, we grab the thought ID. Let's go to where we have some thoughts. I can do that by, let's add a thought. Add a thought, send, go back here and I click here. And let's grab a thought right here. We grab this thought and we want to add reactions to these thoughts. So we go to add reactions. To add reactions, you first start by putting the thought ID for the reaction you want to have. So we'll put the thought ID here. Let's say this is my first. This is my first thought, and we have the username of the person. I'll click send. Oh, sorry, I was meant to do this is my first reaction. So yeah, so but anyways, if we come here and we click get all users and we go down to Godwin, we can see that this thought has a reaction. Someone is reacting, and this is my first thought. It's just saying, oh, this is what I want, I think about it. So that's how we add reactions. And then if we want to delete a reaction, we take get to delete a reaction. The first thing is that we'll get the thought ID, which is this one right here. And don't forget that you can see that we have the reaction count. So the first thing we'll do is to get the thought ID. So let's go all the way to put in our thought ID. And then if we put our thought ID and we want to remove a reaction, so we're going to get like the reaction ID that we wish to remove. So I wish to remove this reaction. So remove reaction, and then we'll put it right here. We hit our send, and as we can see, the reaction has been removed. If we click here again, we add one reaction and we do a send, you can see that the reaction is no more there. We only have the thoughts. And that ends our API social network NoSQL. If you want to see the code of how this is done and start creating your website, you can grab it from my um, GitHub. Thank you. Bye.